Hello, I am Afsana and this is my YouTube channel. Here I shall be doing literary videos on English poetry, dramas, novels, essays, short stories, and basically I'll be speaking in two languages, English and Bengali, because I have noticed there are videos available in Hindi and English, but there are none in Bengali. So I would like to help those whose native language is Bengali. And today I shall be doing a poem called Snow by Louis MacNeice. So before we start the poem, I would like to say some things about the poet. So Louis MacNeice was born in Ireland. Later he shifted in England. He published his first poetry collection at the age of 31, and he was one of the group of poets called Auden Group. He was a great friend of W.H. Auden, and he was very much influenced by his predecessors like W.B. Yeats, Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot. But unlike those poets who wanted to create a safe distance between their personal opinions and their work, Louis MacNeice wanted to write a kind of poetry which he called impure poetry. And in these kinds of work, he wanted to express the sense of the world and nature as it appeared to him or the writer. Okay, so here is the poem. First I will give a reading to the poem, then I will explain the poem line by line. Snow. The room was suddenly rich, and the great bay window was spawning snow and pink roses against it. Suddenly collateral and incompatible. World is suddener than we fancy it. World is crazier and more of it than we think. Incorrigibly plural. I peel and portion a tangerine and speed the pips and feel the drunkenness of things being various. And the fire flames with a bubbling sound, for world is more spiteful and gay than one supposes. On the tongue, on the eyes, on the ears, in the palms of one's hands, there is more than glass between the snow and the huge roses. So the poem is divided into 3 stanzas. And what is happening in the poem, basically, there is a speaker who is inside a house, there is fire burning, and he is having a fruit, and just at the same time there is snow outside. So he is seated in a room and there is a great window, and he watches the snow and then reflects on it. So as his thoughts process, we will follow the poem. We will think, we will see what he is thinking and how he is relating himself with the things around him. So here's the first stanza. The room was suddenly rich, and the great bay window was spawning snow and pink roses against it. So this room where the speaker is right now, it was suddenly rich. So it became suddenly rich. Why did it become suddenly rich? Because there was snow. So it became rich, which means it was not rich before. This snow is making and enriching the room. It was dull before. There was roses still inside it, but it didn't look good enough. It is the snow which is giving the room its richness. The snow is white and it is cold. It is against flowers, which is colorful and which is bright, right? Which is colorful, which is bright, and when we see a flower, we feel good about it. We want to touch it, but that doesn't happen when we see snow. Snow is cold, and this cold is also an attribute of human. Like when someone is unkind and indifferent to us, we do say that he or she is very cold, right? So snow stands for those negative attributes of human beings. Okay, and a flower is colorful and it represents all the good qualities, and that is the difference between the snow and the flower. So when these two different things come against each other, because there is a snow blizzard outside and the snow is almost hitting the window, and they now stand on the same level, just side by side, but they are collateral and they are incompatible. Though they are different and though they are on the same level, they do not make sound. They are soundless. So what happens when different people come together? They often argue, right? Different people means the people with different opinions or various different backgrounds. So when such people come together, sometimes there erupts a quarrel, or sometimes there are arguments. Sometimes they do become friends, but that happens when there's a lot of time. Normally, when different people come together, they do not become friends easily. So when there is no friendship, there is chaos. The situation is chaotic and there would be sound. But these two things, despite being different and together, they do not make any sound. That means they are standing there peacefully. It almost looks like a painting, as if there is a painting on the window, and this painting is enriching the house. Okay, the room actually. So world is suddener than we fancy it. So the world. So now the speaker's vision is expanding. He was in a room and now he was thinking about the world. Why? Because he's watching outside. So from the room, the focus shifts from the room to the world outside. And this world seems suddener. That means things happen here so quickly. Maybe just minutes ago there was no snow and the room seemed dull, but now it seems rich. Why? Because there is snow. So things happen quickly, right? So the world, in the next stanza, he says the world is crazier and more of it than we think, incorrigibly plural. So the world is crazier. Why crazier? It is not the world that is crazier, right? It is the people who inhabit the world that is crazier. So one might, now he is not saying crazy, he is saying crazier. So we think the world is crazy, but actually the world is crazier. So to whatever degree we characterize the world as crazy, it is more so. Okay, and why he is saying so? Because of his experiences. Remember the time when he is writing? He is writing in 1930s and 40s. So this is the time when we already have two great world wars. And people have seen what happens when someone like Adolf Hitler wants to purify the blood of human being, someone who had certain peculiar ideas and who thought that only Germans are the pure blood, and that's why he killed millions and millions Jewish people, and only because of his thought, only because he wanted to purify the German blood, and he hated the Jews because he thought they were impure. So people were greatly affected by these ideas, and artists, writers, intellectuals were more so, because they could not reason with such thought. So they could not find any rationality behind such actions. So that's why he is saying the world is crazier. And the next line says it is incorrigibly plural, right? What is? So it is the world which is incorrigibly plural. So world does inhabit only one kind of thing or being. The world is made of different, imperfectly different things, and it is this very thing which makes the world seem beautiful, sudden, rich, which he is talking about. When there was only roses and or there was only snow, it was not rich. When two different things come together, only then it becomes rich. So now he notices the snow, and then he reflects on his thoughts. He is thinking about the world, and now he is returning back. So he is focusing now on himself. So what is he doing? He is peeling and portioning a tangerine. And then he spits the pips and feels the drunkenness of things being various. So this tangerine is very important. When we first learned about the world, we did read that the world, the shape of the world is like an orange, remember? So tangerine here might stand for the world which is made of two different things, which contains different things, which contains different portion, which the poet is separating and then eating, and taking only that which is edible and is throwing out that which is not. And this very thought, it is not the fruit actually, it is not the tangerine which is making him feel drunken, it is the thought, it is the things which is coming into his mind which is affecting his senses, and he's feeling nauseous. So drunkenness is nauseous. And then suddenly there is the fire, and the fire makes a bubbling sound, right? So maybe there is a spark, there is a spark in the fire, and it makes him alive again. So fire is related with life. We know that it is the sun which brought life on our earth because of its warmth and because of the light. So fire is a symbol of life. And here also, when he is thinking about the snow and the cold and the craziness of the world, it is the fire which is making him alive again, as if he could feel his body parts again. He's feeling his noses, his tongue, his ears, and his eyes, and the palms of his hands. So it is almost like the fire is bringing him back to his senses, because he was feeling nauseous, because he was feeling drunken, right? And now the last line, what is he saying? He says there is more than glass between the snow and huge roses. So what is this more? So we know there is only glass, okay? Outside there is snow, and inside there is warmth, there is fire, there is the speaker who is watching this snow outside. So the glass here stands for two different worlds. Inside the glass there is the warmth of the fire, there is a closed space, and there was only roses, and it was obviously closed because the room has boundaries, room has walls, right? Outside it is open, outside it is nature, outside it is chaotic, outside one can explore more, but there are risks because it is snow and it is cold. So the difference between inside and outside. So the glass stands as if a threshold which separates two different worlds. The world which is inside the house, which is warm and which has the colorful roses and where there is fire and everything seems rich, and the world which is outside the glass, which is cold, which is chaotic because it is snowing, it is snow blizzard, and which is open, and which is a world represented by nature with all its wildness. The glass here separates these two worlds. That is why the poet says there is more than the glass between the roses and the snow. And here the speaker ends his poem, reflecting on the situation of a world which is outside and the world which is inside. Thank you.